Philippines is among the fast-growing economies in Asia. It's a possibility, however, that pursuing this growth path may mean giving up proper urban planning and efforts to channel these gains to the masses. The government is making sure this will not happen outside Metro Manila as it carries out new developments in Central Luzon. In particular, the mixed-use developments inside Clark Freeport and Special Economic Zone that straddles Pampanga and Tarlac provinces. Clark's strategic location and connectivity infrastructure makes it a viable, if not better, alternative to Metro Manila's traffic congestion. And this is expected to happen in the new Clark City, a new economic center north of the capital.
New Clark City is part of the Clark Special Economic Zone. It's approximately 32,000 hectares. To put that in perspective, that's about half of Metro Manila. And New Clark City is the next frontier of development in this area. It is envisioned to be the first green, smart, and completely resilient city in the country.
The new Clark City will eventually become the center of governance through the planned National Government Administrative Center.
You cannot just develop a large tract of land just like that. You have to have something that would catalyze. I want to call this the Queen Bee, no? Where the Queen Bee is, which is the government, the soldiers of the bees will follow, and that's the private sector. Based on our rough estimation, 2 million person trips a day will be out of the system in Metro Manila if only, government only, will transfer there.
The new Clark City will be at par with international standards, while at the same time providing the venue to present our roots as Filipinos through its architecture and design.
We want this city to be luxurious in terms of design. Part of the entire requirement that we believe organic to this city is the philosophy of the Bahay Kubo. Right now, we are just modernizing that same approach. And these are the architecture of the SEA Games, the architecture of the government buildings, the architecture of the houses for the athletes and the government employees.
The National Government Administrative Center will be developed as one of the most resilient infrastructure in the new Clark City.
The type of green that they're putting in the ground, that's very important. We're looking at a master plan that really considered the site where it is. The river is a very good example. So preserving the river, looking at leaving the easements open to offer that recreational space, that leisure space, the environmental protection, and at the same time increasing property values near that area. They're able to build better from the start. So you see things like very wide roadways that have protected bike lanes, that have very wide sidewalks, and not just in one area, but a whole network connecting all of the places around the development.
The good thing is we will have offices, residential, schools, sports facilities, parks, beautiful nature that will be kept, a certain ratio of openness. You don't feel that you are sandwiched by two buildings.
60% of the development will be reserved for green spaces and 40% will be developed. Second is they can expect that the transportation is going to be world-class. It's going to be integrated and interconnected.
Building businesses is at the core of Clark's economic growth. It continues to face the challenge of diversifying development outside Metro Manila. Clark Global City, a new development within the Clark Freeport Zone in Pampanga, promises to be the new business hub.
Our biggest challenge is to plan the development so that it addresses the needs of today and of the future. What we wanted is a development that is comparable with the best cities in the world. There are 5 key drivers that we identified. One of the drivers is it has to be transport-oriented. Second is that it has to be iconic with place branding. In the end, the development has to be memorable. It has to be mixed use. We want to offer diversity of uses. It has to be a place where people can live, can work, can socialize. Development, we have open spaces, we have activity areas, sports complex, all these spaces that people need for them to enjoy life in the community. There has to be different offerings here. And last is, in the end, this is a place where people have to live in. It has to be a place that inspires people to develop a community.
The design of Clark Global City is quite ambitious, and this is paying off as it slowly but surely is attracting investors because of its unique features.
So the 10 years really is a quite ambitious plan to build a city of this size. So to put it in perspective, this is a 177-hectare development, mixed use. We call it an aerotropolis, but what it is a city that's using the planning and the lessons that have been learned over the last 10, 20 years in city development to try to make it more forward-thinking. Our first phase was, of course, building a hospital and building some commercial and retail, which is what we're sitting in today. This is part of a retail complex that spans across the first and second floor. Kind of if you think about how Hong Kong is connected, office, retail, mixed-use space, that's very similar to the design here.
Clark Global City primarily offers solutions to Metro Manila's congestion. It makes sure that each development is well planned and sustainable. With local and international businesses at the forefront, Clark Global City is envisioned to become a new center for economic development along with other projects in the Clark Freeport and Special Economic Zones.
Well, if you look at Clark in itself, it's a free port. Being a free port, it offers a lot of advantages. It is very close to major means of transport. You have the airport, you have the SCTEX and the rail. And not very far from Clark is the Subic Freeport.
It's also central in the country, which makes it very strategic for employees. So international companies that really are locating in the Philippines because of the quality of talent. This is one of the easiest places to grow your business in terms of quality of talent. And then the third is it is incredibly resilient to natural disasters, which makes your risk of loss of productivity very low. We consider ourselves like the BGC of the North. The big key difference, I would say, is sustainability and connectivity. So our transportation solutions, you can go right now, every 15 minutes there's a free bus service, Clark Global City Bus throughout our city. It's connected by train, it's connected by highway. You can fly and be on site in 10 minutes. This is one of the fastest growing airports in the entire world. It's grown by 60 or 70% per year. Those are features that you won't get in BGC and you won't get in other regional cities.
This is less dense. We are not going to create densities as high as Makati CBD. Second, we have more open spaces.
There is almost no solution to the growing congestion of Metro Manila. You have to move outside Metro Manila. One of the best ways to do that is have economic centers that provide high-quality jobs that are outside Metro Manila. So this is part of the solution of why this is huge.
Filipinos in major cities and urban centers constantly struggle with heavy traffic, and our airports are no exception. Traffic congestion in and around the Ninoy Aquino International Airport is getting worse even as more air travelers come and go through the country's main gateway. In contrast, wide interconnected highways make it easy for travelers to reach Clark International Airport in Pampanga.
The Clark International Airport area is very sustainable in terms of development. We can sustain this maybe a few more generations because just the Clark International Airport area is already 4 times that of Naya. We can accommodate 3 runways. Actually, the first phase is this one. The second phase is 22 million passengers with new terminals. The third phase is 45 million with the second runway. And the fourth phase is 80 million with the third runway.
Clark Airport began as a modest facility serving a few dozen flights a week to limited destinations. Today, the airport is the gateway to a number of local and international destinations serving millions of passengers.
It will be a true game changer, considering that, as everyone knows, NAIA is bursting at its seams. It's very full. Over na po siya ng 10 million passengers a year. And we can absorb the overflow passengers. And not only absorb them, we can take more just to alleviate everything. Alleviate traffic, alleviate the passengers. More importantly, it will provide economic gains in the area.
With a rising number of passengers, the airport braces for new developments to meet growth expectations.
We're looking at 12 million passengers by 2020. If we move 12 million passengers, if it's one car a passenger, that's 12 million cars off EDSA.
The PNR North Tutuban Station.
There's also a Clark Malolos, a Clark Tutuban Railway, which will be provided for the passengers and others. The railway is under construction. It's a DOTR project actually. It's not part of the airport project, but it will complement the airport project since it will pass through the airport.
Airport officials are confident they can address the demands of more passengers with the completion of a new airport by 2022.
There's a new terminal already under construction. It's 25% complete. That will accommodate around 10 million passengers. It's around 100,000 square meters. It's planned to have the state-of-the-art acceptance of passengers, baggage bag drops, automated immigration. All the new stuff should be there.
Aside from establishing itself as a base for international flights, the airport is also well positioned to become the next hub for domestic flights.
The strategy of Clark since maybe last year or 2 years ago was to build up domestic. Like for example, 2016 we had one destination, 6 flights a week. We're now at 300 flights a week, 21 destinations and growing.
For frequent travelers from nearby provinces, Clark Airport brings convenience in many ways.
Taga-Bataan ako, pero may bahay kami sa Davao. Mas okay kasi pag sumasakay kami dito sa Clark papuntang Davao. At saka mas okay yung mga nagtatrabaho rito, mababait, tapos malinis, yun ang pinaka-the best dito. Kasi sa NAIA, traffic, di ba, sa Manila. Pero sa Clark, manggagaling kaming Bataan, mag-text lang kami, tapos 30 minutes nandito ka na sa Clark.
Ang strategy po doon is the domestic flights and destinations are the base. So when the base is there, the international and regional flights will come para connectivity po. You don't have to go to Manila for your connection.
With the operation of the new Clark City and Clark Global City, the international airport would serve travelers who want to experience and enjoy these developments.
You take into consideration the new Clark City and everything. Parang nasabayan rin po namin yun eh. At the same time, swerte rin po kami, nasabayan namin yung congestion of NAIA. And of course, government support, they're very supportive this time.
As it serves more passengers and helps decongest NAIA, Clark International Airport is no doubt a game changer. As Clark Airport welcomes more passengers each year, tourists, travelers, and Filipinos around the country are beginning to discover Pampanga as a perfect place to experience culture, especially its food.
We all know that Pampanga is a melting pot. You know, people go to Baguio, they go Olongapo, they stop to Pampanga to try food. We know that food is narrative. Kwento yan eh.
With its roots in colonial Spanish cuisine mixed with indigenous recipes, Kapampangan food is known for its unique flavor.
In Kapampangan we say, matas kami pulok. Our level of yung taste is very high, you know. There are two Kapampangan food now. One is so traditional. And the young generations naman, they could not relate. So what I did is, I tried to innovate. And of course, this is one of the most classic Kapampangan dishes we have, kare-kare. And this is my take on my kare-kare, seafood kare-kare. This is my version of seafood kare-kare, mangan.
The rich Kapampangan culture goes beyond its cuisine. Art is also a significant part of Pampanga's way of life.
Pampanga's art and culture it's unique because of the race itself. We derive a lot of uniqueness in terms of the poetry, the music, the zarzuelas.
At Clark Museum, Pampanga's art and history merge to tell the province's story. The use of art to narrate culture preserves Pampanga's identity among other provinces.
As you can see, the fashion that you saw at the Clark Museum, it's called Pidait, like what I'm wearing now, and the one behind me. It's called Pidait, which means to put together. We don't want the arts and culture to be left behind, so we're here to make sure that doesn't happen.
With flourishing food, art, and cultural interests, Northern Luzon will also become a home base for many of the country's world-class athletes. For two-time SEA Games gold medalist Nico Huelgas, putting up the Philippine Sports City is a significant development in Philippine sports.
Having a Philippine Sports City is very important, especially for us athletes na may option kami para makapag-train nearby, convenient. It gives us national athletes a way to train better. Kasi pag maganda yung facilities, mas malaki yung opportunity for us to improve.
The 40-hectare sports complex will include an athletic stadium and aquatic center.
I've been waiting for this for so many years. Convenient yun para sa isang national athlete na pwede makapaglangoy, makapag-bike dito, at ngayon makakapag-run na rin kami na maayos dahil tatayo na yung track oval.
It's easy to see how Clark, as a free port and economic zone, is developing on a macro level. The expansion of its airport and construction of well-planned cities will bring wide-scale changes to the country. These changes have made significant impact on the lives of business owners and ordinary citizens.
Our company here in the Philippines has about 22,000 employees out of, let's say, 50,000 worldwide. We are primarily a manufacturer, although we do a lot of design and development. But here in this location where you are, we manufacture primarily Ralph Lauren products.
Frank Sauceda has been doing business in the country for almost 3 decades. His company has been a significant member of Clark's business community.
I see a kind of a small renaissance, happening in Clark right now. I think in the last 3 to 5 years, we've seen a lot of investment come here, whether it's airport or the infrastructure of the roads. I think Clark is providing a really good opportunity for people to consider this area to live and work. I think the education system, the fact that the country speaks English, has a really strong competitive advantage against, let's say, other countries in Southeast Asia, where maybe management is not able there to arrive yet to be able to communicate in an international way.
Ang produkto namin na tinatanim namin, kamuting bagi, luyan dilaw, kamuting kahoy. Yun, nagbubungkal kami ng mga lupa. Yun, ang taniman namin, doon kami nabubuhay.
Ordinary citizens also benefit from Clark's development. With more people coming in, businesses are generating more opportunities to farmers like Cason Garcia.
kami lahat, gusto namin lahat. Nung ganun. Kisa doon sa mabulok na lang, edi ibibenta mo.
Like Garcia, businessman Edwin Yalong hopes the new Clark City will bring in more jobs, especially to the towns in Tarlac.
Sa ngayon, maliban sa kompensasyon na binigay sa amin, kung makakapagtrabaho kami dito for the future, pag naitayo ng mga establishmento rito, yun ang magiging benefits namin. Magkakaroon kami ng trabaho.
Right now, just the Clark main zone alone, which is the Freeport area, employs around 120,000 employees. So the initial beneficiaries of the employment that is generated in Clark is the surrounding communities. CDC being government and Clark being government has always been looked upon as the catalyst for development. Some of the major future anchors of Clark, of course, the airport, the development of the Clark International Airport, and then the new Clark City, and the development of the Clark Global City. So these are all, again, acts as catalysts and anchors of development for the region.
And there will be an underground train station for the terminal complex of Clark, similar to what you see in Hong Kong and other. The railway connecting Subic to Clark all the way to the north and all the way to Manila and to the south in Batangas. All of this makes Clark at the center of all the infrastructure development under the President's Build, Build, Build program. That puts Clark in a very strategic location at the center of all these developments.
The developments within Clark Freeport and special economic zones have added significant value to Central Luzon. Developers hope the project will make a significant impact on the residents, making sure it will be substantial and sustainable.